Hello, it's Jimmy again here at O'Reilly's. Audi A4 here. The sun is very bright, but this has a similar issue again that we normally see every single year for the past 4 years. Engine lights come back on, goes back into the garage, they sort it out, but every single year when it's due an MOT, the engine light's back on and the same process needs doing again, and that is EGR, cooler and DPF replacement and or cleaning, but it doesn't last very long at all. A few thousand miles and the problem is back. So I've done videos on a Q5 before, a couple of Q5s. I've done the Audi A4 and the A6 as well, but what's changed in the last few months? So I've done the Q5 a few days ago, but I'm probably not going to post this video for maybe a month or two after the Q5 because I've got a load of videos that I need to post. So basically we'll talk you through how we have made up a solution to fix these cars permanently. You keep getting a P200200 fault code and we need to do something with the software that resolves it. Right, so inside the car, engine management light is on. So I'm using this King Bowling scan tool here, and as usual, if you want to know where this comes from, I'll put a link in the video description where you can buy it from. So here's the problem with this car. We have soot grams 7 and then calculated soot versus measured soot is way off. So this one is in negative numbers, -1. And no matter what you do, this will always keep happening. But the software needs to be changed on the car to be able to allow the vehicle's tolerances of the DPF just to be a little bit less sensitive. So we're not doing the DPF delete, we're just changing the tolerances of the DPF itself. And then once all that's done, we should get a DPF that works. Right, so I did notice that dropped down a little bit there, but that was a bit weird. Let's have a look at the revs. Full revs, which is 2500 RPM, 40 millibars of pressure. Let it idle down. 12, it drops, it's a little bit strange. You see it's dropping slightly, 7-8. So to correct this, the procedure that I've spent the last 2 years sort of perfecting is cleaning the DPF and EGR cooler together, because you have to clean both together. They're just joined, like conjoined twins attached side by side. And when we clean it, the problem I was having is maybe 60% of the time customers would come back in 3 weeks or 6 weeks and the problem has returned. The rest would be fine, but that wasn't good enough. I want 100% of the customers I do this for to have the problem resolved for at least a year. But with this solution I've came up with now, it's a permanent solution to the P200200 code, which you get for this issue. Unless your DPF completely cracks and falls apart when you've got zero pressure whatsoever in the DPF, it's the only way you're ever going to see that those sort of faults again, but I very much doubt it. And let's get in and have a look at what we're going to do. So just return from the live data and I'll show you the fault codes that we've got here on this. Got glow plug faults, and then we've got DPF efficiency, which is P200200 code there. It just tells you when it's happened, what the mileage was. Right, and this one, so I was having a look at the glow plugs. We did have cylinder 2 glow plug, but I did have a look to see if that was a pressure sensor glow plug on number 3, so I did unplug that. So if we look at the freeze frame for that, it might come up right about now. 11:28 is, yeah, so that was 10 minutes ago basically. That's when that happened. But we did have this one, which was P067200, and this one came up at a completely different time, you can see there. Right, so let's go back and talk about how we're going to fix it. Engine up, engine cover off. You see the glow plugs are situated here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 3 is the pressure sensor one. And over here is your DPF pressure sensor. And this one is for the EGR. But we're going to go through this one. Okay, so we've set up a battery stabilizer. So you can see it's pulling about 18 amps there with that on. Okay, now we download the file for this car via the auto tuner there. Now I use my software provider here that we've teamed up with, which is the Remapping company. So I just put in the notes there that it needs the P200200 software fix. Okay, now we write that file to the car. So basically we've sent the file away, had it read, and then we make some changes. Well, they make some changes to the file, send it back to me, save it to my laptop. I then load it into the car here, and then we can clean out the DPF system, and we can take the car on a test drive just to confirm that everything is back where we want it. So we want obviously the negative figures to come up, but even if the negative figures in the future do go into sort of anywhere, anywhere in low numbers, so anything below sort of, if it goes to -5, -6 grams, with the software fix we're putting in, it won't give you back the error. You'd have to go into stupid figures until it would actually throw you a fault code. So basically Euro 5 cars don't have this issue. This is only in this Euro 6 version here, and it's just the design setup of the parts and the software that they've put into the car just doesn't work. The EGR cooler doesn't reach temperature to be able to burn off soot. The DPF itself does, which is how the DPF keeps clean, but the EGR cooler side doesn't do that. And the valves inside the car, it diverts to the DPF, then it diverts to the EGR cooler, vice versa. So we can get it to only divert in a certain direction, especially while the regen's happening, because you're just wasting your heat trying to go to the EGR cooler. It doesn't get hot. It'll only get to like a couple hundred degrees at most. If it gets hotter than that, you'll melt and damage the EGR cooler. So basically it's just a bad system that doesn't work, and this software fix is going to stop them having to do this repair once every year. So you don't want to be spending, it's £2,000 probably repair for the EGR cooler replacement, and I've seen customers pay 4,800 for the DPF and EGR together at an Audi dealer, and on a yearly basis it's not a plausible fix. So we'll just wait for that to load, and then we can carry on with the rest of the repair. Now also, if we come around to the back of the car here, we look at our exhaust tips. So they're clean, no black sooty fingers on it. Even if you have got a slight amount of soot there, as long as the pressure isn't completely dropped off the DPF, so the casing around the DPF itself can expand slightly, and then you get some soot come past. That's if you've got obviously some damage on the DPF. Unless the pressure is gone, then that can't be fixed. But if you have soot, it's not too much of a problem. Now it is a problem if your car is standard, but when we do the software patch on this, basically it will use the same parameters as a Euro 5, and it will only chuck a DPF error, if the DPF has no pressure. But normally, even when these have soot, your pressure is still absolutely normal. It's still fine. It's just you get the tiniest amount of soot coming past the casing of the DPF, and again, it's a yearly process of putting new parts on, so we're trying to save customers that money. Okay, now software's been done, we can do the glow plugs. So they've got a lot of this sort of crap sitting down there, so we're just going to use an airline. Blow all that out. Okay, so this car has three standard glow plugs. Then on cylinder 3 we have a pressure sensor glow plug, which is just that one plug is about £150, and that's not actually faulty. It's just cylinder 2 that's faulty. So customer wants to opt to save some money and leave that one in, so we just change the 3 regular ones and be done with it. But if it was my car, I would change all 4, but it's what the customer wants to do, so that's what we're going to do for him. We're just going to get these 3 glow plugs changed. Okay, so we've got the new glow plugs in there now. So if we do a continuity test on these glow plugs, you can just do a quick little test, which is on the tip and on the body. You can see that beeps, and number 2 is dead, and then number 3, it also gives a continuity beep. So that's the dead glow plug there, but it's always worth changing them in a set of 4. Okay, now we use a cleaning solution from Launch UK. It's attached to a compressor, 120 psi. You squeeze the trigger and we get it into the car. We do this with the engine running, and we do it in short bursts. So now we take the vehicle on a test drive for anything from 5 minutes to an hour, depending on what it needs. So we just also then confirm that the vehicle is able to do its regeneration process. You can see there we're at 600 degrees. Okay, so we're just back from a test drive. We're not quite finished the regen just yet, but if we hold the revs, that will finish in a minute. See, one of the main parts about doing the software on this is to make sure that the vehicle is able to regenerate its own self. This is why we always do the test drive long enough to make it do it. Sometimes it can take too long to be able to see this happen, but in this case for the video, I'm making sure that you can see that this software is working, the regeneration process works, and basically once the car goes away, it's going to be able to work properly. Some people are just doing DPF deletes on these and leaving the DPF in there, or trying to do EGR deletes and leaving the DPF there. You'll just cause more problems, or you'll make things even worse. Unless you're able to get the software correct, like I've done, this is the only way to do it. Okay, so the regen process has finished. Would have finished slightly early there because obviously I was stationary. We just decided to come back. We went around the block a couple of times to get it working. And yeah, so we're both, our numbers there are now matching up, looking good. So basically we have now fixed the software on this. We've widened the tolerances so the P200200 code doesn't get triggered off, you know, for any minor difference in this mass measured and calculated, even though we've got it right now anyway. Even if it goes out of sync by a few grams here or there, it's not going to keep chucking this fault code up. The software that they put into this is far too sensitive, and it just doesn't work. It works when the car is new, but after you reach some of the customers you see coming to me, 40,000 miles, 60,000 miles, maybe 80,000 miles if you're lucky, you will get some people say, oh, it's never happened to me, I've had the car, or I had my EGR repaired 2 years ago and it hasn't come back. If you're really lucky. But if you've got a car that has built up carbon and soot within the engine, putting the new parts on it, you know, within a very short time, the carbon that has built up elsewhere in the engine quickly makes its way back into the EGR cooler and your new parts are blocked. That's why we're seeing customers like this having this issue for 4 years, 4 years consecutive. And now the car is, you know, 2015. It's 10 or 11 years old. So it gets to the point where is it worth spending, you know, 2 to 4 grand every year on a car? Even if it was an expensive car, if I had to spend that amount of money on it more than once, it was getting part exchanged back to the dealer for me. But so that's it. I hope we've went through the process and with enough detail for you and how it works. And if anyone's looking for me to do this, I'll put the contact details in the video description again. But please, if you're looking for questions regarding this video, you know, random questions about whatever, just use the comment section for that. If you did, email address or our contact phone numbers for the business is only for making bookings. I don't have anyone there answering technical questions or mechanical questions, or I'm trying to repair my own car, or I'm this garage who's trying to fix this customer's car. Can you give me some advice? We can't keep doing that for 200-300 people every day. It's not possible. I don't have a massive RAC call center, but we can only take bookings. That's all we can do. We can try and help as many people as we can by making bookings for them. And if not, we're hoping to put as much information into these videos that we can, that if you're able to follow the video and help yourself. If you can't follow the video and you can't, you know, follow, I get 150 people a day message me saying, oh, we've tried to follow your video, but we're a bit stuck. Can you give us some advice over the phone? Can we give you a call? Can you email us some details? If you can't follow the video, I'm not going to be able to help you via phone call. Basically, I put enough details into the videos to be able to help you, and it is really affecting my business. I mean, to answer everyone's phone calls, I'd need a dozen people, just using it as a helpline center. But obviously I can't afford to do that, and I just haven't got the resources for it. So please be patient, and please bear in mind that that's what we're trying to do. And if you are trying to make a booking, sorry if it takes, you know, a little too long for me to reply, but we tried to filter through so many messages that we get that people are just filling up our our inboxes with all of just random questions that we're not able to answer. So to finish up, we just confirmed that we haven't got any fault codes. So that's it basically, all finished, and see you on the next video.